have like more than 50% of the total defense expenditure via NATO is coming from the US. Like
50%.
And what are they giving in return? This is a very good question to ask.
50% is doing a disservice to it. It's like 70 or 80% or some shit.
Oh yeah. This is like all of Europe. It's basically one country funding an entire continent's defense.
Not just that, the U.S. is also paying for the cheap healthcare that Europe has as well.
This is, by the way, the only reason why you actually get the healthcare that they keep bragging about. It's because the U.S. is not getting it. Imagine if, like, the U.S. were to apply it to itself instead.
Ooh. Yeah. The U.S. is effectively making Europe's healthcare plan cheaper. On top of that, the Europeans don't have to pay for their fucking defense, and they haven't for years, right? So they've had all this time to invest in their welfare system. Well, I wouldn't even call it invest. Waste money on their welfare system.
Europe's thing is that they have spent all of the money that they should have been spending on investment, and not necessarily like as government investment, but just like staying the fuck out of the way of private enterprise so that it can make investment, and they have blown it all on consumption. And the consumption of the worst type. It's consumption on inefficient systems where you overstaff them, you overpay, you're allocating resources in the absolute least efficient manner possible, and you're not doing anything to protect yourself or be independent from a foreign policy standpoint. And like, I think we're going to get free healthcare, and I think we're going to get it because of AI. So like, I think that's
it's a bit like Venezuela, right? They had like all this time where their entire system was dependent on them making money from oil. And then they didn't invest it into anything useful. It was just social services. And then when the price of oil crashed, their entire country went to shit.
Yep. And like all of Europe's the same way. The North Sea oil in Britain, right? Norway turned around and put it into a sovereign wealth fund, all of their oil revenues and gas revenues. Britain took it and they spent it on the fucking NHS, right? So like, it's just, they've done the absolute, and the thing about NATO, which is even crazier. Forget the like amount that you spend. That's one thing, right? If you then look at the shit that some of these countries have said in the last week and a half, and then you compare it to like what they actually have in terms of boots on the ground. Ireland, prime example, neutral country notionally, but they go out and their foreign minister says, after Donald Trump's disgraceful treatment of Ukraine, we stand with Ukraine. And then you look up the numbers and you go, well, gee, I wonder how many men are in the Irish Armed Forces. And the answer is about 5,000. So they have less than like a brigade combat team. And this is across all three services. They maybe have one brigade combat team. If you assume that every single one of those people is not
a brigade combat team. How many people are in a battalion or in a regiment?
Loans that Ukraine is going to have to pay back.
Yeah, it's wild how
they don't have any backbone. There's no generosity. It's, we'll give you this money, you pay it to us back, but the U.S. is giving it fucking financial support for free.
Yeah, we got grifted.
The Europeans are like, some people in Europe get it. Like Mario Draghi understands that like if they don't wake up from the slumber they're in, like, and start really radically changing the way that they do things, Europe is over, right? It's finished. It's not coming back. They're not reproducing. They're not having children. They're not building anything. They don't have an economy. They don't have any internet businesses. They don't have any AI businesses. They don't have any electricity. They don't have any energy. They don't have any weapons. They don't have a space program, right? The closest thing Europe comes to a space program is like a fucking quadruple shot espresso. Like that's it. Like that's the closest they're going to get to the moon. They don't have a crypto industry. They don't have anything, right? And like it's like I just wonder how the hell like this continent, which like produced every great musician, every great philosopher, every great invention until the United States came and ate their lunch. Suddenly, like it's just a bunch of people going, we couldn't possibly like build anything or like have a nuclear power station or like put